Hello and welcome to another video from me, Rough Swordsman Wargamer. It's an open the box and it's another trip down memory lane because we have for you today Gulf Strike. Land, air and sea combat in the Persian Gulf. This game originally came out in 1983, reprinted in 1988, and this is the third edition from 1990 and includes the Desert Shield expansion module. And it's from Victory Games, of course. Right, so what's all this about? Designed by the one and only Mark Herman. And up here we've got a little bit of history of Gulf Strike. And it says, Gulf Strike was designed to be the state-of-the-art in land, air and sea modern simulation. Since its original release, Gulf Strike has shown its ability to simulate the changing character of the Gulf Wars, from the Iran-Iraq War to the Iraqi invasion of Kuwait and its potential aftermath. In fact, the original 1983 edition correctly anticipated the type and character of units the United States would send to the region in the event of a crisis. The Persian Gulf is perhaps the world's most critical flashpoint, an area fraught with ideological, economic, political and military animosities, where every flare-up carries the threat of global repercussions and the potential for superpower involvement. Gulf Strike's Desert Shield Edition allows you to examine every aspect of the complex region. 7 complete scenarios cover the recent history of the region, plus the current Desert Shield operation, and portray the multitude of alliances possible to counter threats arising in numerous quarters. Complete air, land and sea orders of battle for several dozen nations allow you to fight each conflict to its unpredictable and often startling conclusion. So there we are. Complexity off the scale at very high. Solitaire suitability is sort of medium. Contents: 1,430 half-inch counters, 2 22 by 32 inch map sheets, 2 16 by 22 inch map sheets, 1 8 by 22 inch map sheet, 1 rules booklet, 1 charts, stroke tables booklet, 2 scenario booklets, 1 decimal die, and 1 counter storage tray. Timescale 2 days per game turn. Map scale 28 kilometers per operational hex, 280 kilometers per strategic hex. Players 2. This is also recommended for team play. Playing time from 2 hours for a short scenario to 45 hours for a long scenario. So this is my first foray into what people call, I think, monster games. So let's open the box. And the first thing we see are the rules, of course. So let's have a look at these. Maybe we can... There we are. So this comes in at 60 pages. So what have we got here? Table of contents. Oh, wrong way. Let's just come out a little bit. There we are. Table of contents, designer player notes, in-game turn, and that's all here. This is a very involved game, as you can see. I won't be getting this on the table in the next few days. Grand strategy, operational strategy, tactical strategy and victory conditions. Introduction. Sequence of play. And there's a lot in this sequence of play. Black and white, of course, quite small font. There's 3 action stages. End stage, and then summary of playing pieces. Tons of them, as you can imagine. Crikey. So what we've got here, we've got the unit values, explaining what those are, air units, naval units, including carrier units, submarines, and the ground units. And then it goes on to explain each of those units. So there's the air units, crikey, naval units, aircraft carriers, yes. So supply is very important in this game. I would think ground units, ground unit repair, chemical warfare, division breakdown and recombination, special forces, zones of control and withdrawal, supply, there we are, supply networks, ground unit supply, naval supply, the effects of being out of supply. Can't declare combat, can't be repaired. Movement, intermap movement. So you can move between, yes, it's a strategic map and the operational maps. I think you can move between those. Ground unit movement, stacking, interdiction, air and naval unit movement, amphibious landings, mines, crikey, detection, air naval detection, naval air detection, intermap detection, naval detection, interception, whoops, combat, ground to ground, of course you're going to have ground to air, yes, air to ground, air to air, naval types of combat, intermap combat, and then optional rules. Does that mean we've got about 40 pages of rules? Yes. So, optional rules, optional detection, in-flight refueling, mobile supply points, anti-radiation missiles. Then we're into balancing a scenario, and then into the scenarios. Political events, general scenario rules. Oh, there we are. We've got the orders of battle for the first 3 scenarios here. Scenario 1. Scenario 2. Scenario 3. Scenario 4. And 5. So, in the original game, it looks like we had 5 scenarios. So, wish me luck. Them's the rules. Next, we have this insert that was mentioned on the back of the box with the tables, formation effects table, combat, ground combat resolution table. Blimey. Ranged characteristics summary. Supply examples. Formation and movement example, intermap example, and zone of control example. So it's good you've got these. I think we're going to need them. And examples of air to ground, ground to air combat, and short range air to air interception example, and long range air to air interception example. There we are, some more examples. Amphibious, ground combat, combat air patrol, cap, withdrawal, random political events table, naval combat. Dear oh dear. Air mission prerequisite summary. This is bonkers. And a terrain effects chart on the back with troop quality effects matrix. Right. Next we've got the Gulf Strike Scenario Update. This is the second edition from the 1988 version. Since the original printing of Gulf Strike in 1983, things have changed. So there's some new counters, new unit values, and scenarios. I think they're updating the scenarios from the original printing. Scenario 6. And the rules for these. Harassment attack table. Iranian speedboats. Suicide attacks. Speedboat mines. My goodness. Scenario 6, US Order of Battle. USSR Order of Battle. And then this Scenario 6 variants. And there's 5 of those. And some errata from the first printing. An abbreviated sequence of play. And here is the Desert Shield expansion module from 1990, 12 pages. Of course, dealing with the war, new counters, update to Gulf Strike rules, range characteristics summary additions, and then the scenarios. So, scenario 7 and its variants. US-Israeli nuclear weapons, terrorist attacks. Saddam Hussein, chemical warfare. Variant 1 and short game. That might be worth looking at. Set up for it. US Transcom schedule. GCC and Arab Coalition Order of Battle. And some random political events. And a couple of tables, strategic target, long-range missile and missile warhead hit tables. There we go. Also in this game is the Games and Part List price from August the 1st, 1989. And look at all the different types of stuff you could get. Role-playing games. Yeah, I remember that. Fantasy and science fiction games. Elric. Oh, Michael Moorcock. I remember reading those books. Dune, of course. Starship Troopers. Wizard's Quest. Aegean Strike. This, I think that's the sort of companion game to this one. Ambush. Yeah, and all the expansions. Central America. I believe, is that being redone by Compass? I know the Fleet series are being done. Reissued by Compass. Gulf Strike and Aegean Strike aren't, as far as I am aware. The Korean War, I've got that. I might do an unboxing of that, even though I had to punch it out because it's colour coded and I had to get them in the little compartments quick before I lost track of everything. Ospreys Raiders, open fire. Yeah, the fleets are being done again. Vietnam, that's another one I'm looking at, but I think that's being redone as well, along with Korean War. Tokyo Express, of course. Strategy games, there we go, tons of them. Sorry, I'm going back in time. Sports games, Avalon Hill were known for those as well. Microcomputer games. And parts, you could buy bits and pieces for your games if you lost them. There we are. Counters. Counter sheet number 1. With all the countries, United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Bahrain, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Iran, Iran, Iraq, and there we are on the other side. Haven't a clue what all this means yet, but there we are, quite thin, little bit of bowage there, look, but be all right once we punch and clip, I suppose. Number 2, some more countries. Pakistan, Iraq again. Oh, look, just 2 for us lot. Israel, France, USSR. Loads of those. Oman. A lot of them are one-sided. There we go. Number 3. USA. These are just markers. Trying to get that in so you can see. There we are. And then 2 half sheets. Some more markers here by the looks of it. Another one here with some more countries. Iran. Oh, there's another. UK, neutral, Italy, Iraq, France, this is going to keep you busy. There we go. And just to finish off, the counter sheet for the Desert Shield expansion. There's some more USA counters there. Iraq, Saudi Arabia. Oh, UK. France, Egypt, Qatar, Syria, Bahrain, USSR, United Arab Emirates, Morocco. I mean, all there. There we are. Lots of punching and a clipping. In the bottom of the box, we've got a tray. This is one of the ones with the attached lid. And a decimal die, a D10. And just to finish off, we've got 5 map sheets. So let's have a look at those. Here's the strategic map, 16 by 22 inch, so not that big. Here we've got a sort of terrain key and supply point game turn record track. And that's showing us a sort of scrunched up view of the countries involved. Here's the first of the larger maps. This is Operational Map A, Caspian Sea, Iraq, Iran and the USSR. And here is Operational Map B. This edge doesn't have the hexagonal edging like these do, so I assume this one goes on to the previous map. And here we can see Kuwait, some neutral territory, Saudi Arabia, UAE down the bottom here, and the Gulf of Oman down here. Huge game. And here's the other 16 by 22 inch map, Operational Map C, which obviously tags on the edge of another map. But here we've got the terrain key and some tracks here. Air Naval Combat Resolution track. These look like holding boxes, but we shall find out. There we are. And here's the last map, the little 8 by 22 inch map, Operational Map D, with Iraq on it. Those are the maps. So this has been a mega open the box for a mega game. Gulf Strike, land, air and sea combat in the Persian Gulf. This is the 3rd edition, published by Victory Games in 1990 and designed by the one and only Mark Herman. Well, lots to be getting on with there. But I hope that was helpful and you enjoyed it. If you did and you haven't done so already, it would be great if you would consider subscribing to the channel. It really does help. Pushing the like button of this video and the bell if you want to be informed of other uploads that the channel does. Leave a comment. If any of you boys and girls out there played it, let me know what you think and maybe the best way to go about learning the game, because there's a lot in it. Thanks as always to those that have subscribed to the channel. Thank you very much. And just before I go, one last thing. If you want to support the channel a little bit further, well now you can. You can buy the channel a coffee. Doesn't cost much, and all those coffees go towards new content for the channel to upload. If you want to check what that's all about, I shall leave a link in the description, and thank you. So, until next time, as always, you take care, and goodbye.